Yeah, please go ahead, Glenn.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Sanju, and good evening, everyone. So as Sanju said, my name is Glenn, and I'm an Economic Development Officer with Clarington's Economic Development Division. I believe I've been in contact with everyone on the call here today, as well as all those who are registered. But for those of you who don't know me, I am the municipal lead for the rollout of Clarington's Municipal Accommodations Tax, or the MAT, as it will be called throughout this session. So I've been managing this project since the planning of it began last year. Implementing a MAT was identified as part of our 2025-2026 Economic Development Action Plan as a way to reintroduce municipal tourism support in Clarington. As you may already know, Sanju and his team from the Ontario Restaurant, Hotel and Motel Association, or ORHMA, are Clarington's authorized tax collection agents. So as a result, any questions related to the collection and remittance of the MAT will be going through Sanju and his team. ORMA has extensive experience administrating the MAT across Ontario, as they serve as the tax collection agent for, I believe, over 30 towns and cities across Ontario. Is that correct, Sanju?
Yeah, the number has increased since then. Now it's over 40 in 2 provinces.
Sounds good. So lots of experience elsewhere. But that being said, I'm still more than happy to help with any questions related to the MAT program itself. In the coming months, you'll begin to see information shared throughout municipal channels about how MAT revenues will be used to support tourism in Clarington. And I'd highly encourage everyone to follow Clarington's social accounts, such as Clarington Connected and Invest Clarington, as well as to sign up for our e-news to stay up to date on this progress. So I'll go ahead and post a link to our newsletter sign up in the chat after, so everyone knows how to access that. And before I throw it over to Sanju, I did want to quickly mention Verbal. So I understand that a lot of people who have registered for today's call are hosts on Airbnb. So that is where the majority of the focus of tonight's session will be. But for those of you who also host on Vrbo, I want to note that no action is required, as Vrbo will handle the MAT on behalf of hosts. So essentially, Vrbo and Clarington have entered into what's called a voluntary collection agreement. Under this agreement, Vrbo will automatically apply the MAT to Clarington listings and remit to us on a quarterly basis. As a result, as I said, Clarington Vrbo hosts do not need to take any further steps for their listings on Vrbo. Unfortunately, this is not the case for Airbnb. Airbnb did enter into similar agreements with a limited number of towns and cities when the MAT was first introduced in Ontario, I believe back in 2017. And they currently have agreements with approximately 10 towns and cities across Ontario. But there's a lot more than that who have a MAT now. I believe the number is over 70. Now Airbnb has shifted away from that model. And what they're doing now is sharing municipal messaging with hosts through the platform and placing that responsibility of collecting and remitting the tax on hosts themselves. So we'll continue to work with Airbnb and the province to advocate for platform-led collection and remittance across all platforms. But for the time being, Airbnb hosts will have to collect and remit the tax using the process that Sanju and team will outline tonight. And the same thing applies for the small number of short-term rentals that also exist on platforms like Booking.com, for example. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Sanju to take us through the rest of the presentation, and there'll be time at the end for a Q&A period if anyone has any questions so far. But with that, I'll pass it over to Sanju.
Yeah, thank you very much, Glenn, for that introduction. My name is Sanju Abraham. I'm with ORHMA, Ontario Restaurant Hotel Association. Just a few words about us. We are a not-for-profit organization in Ontario, been around since the last depression. I mean it as 1920s, so it's been around a long time. And we started collecting municipal accommodation tax with the City of London about 8 years ago. Those days, we only collected the hotel side of things only. Then, as Glenn mentioned, the online, the accommodation sharing economy, like the VRBO and the Airbnb and Booking.com, not collect automatically for the cities across Ontario. So we're approached by the municipalities to have a system to incorporate short-term rentals along with our existing hotel collection. So that's why we are in this field, and we'll work with you. And we learned the best practices from other municipalities, and we are bringing them to you. I would like to go through a process. I have a short presentation slides. After that, I will walk you through our MAT portal, and you don't have access to it yet. Within the weeks, next week, before the end of next week, you will receive an invite from us. And I do have a list that I received from Glenn already with the email and the names. So we will start with that and move forward. Marianne, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, everybody. My name is Marian Kotevsky. I work for the Ontario Restaurant Hotel Motel Association for the last 12 years. And I work with Sanju ever since the beginning of the MAT process in Ontario and the bylaws across different municipalities. Now, Clarington is coming on board, and I'll be helping with onboarding everybody to the MAT portal and welcoming you eventually to the portal. So we're going to expect that to be done probably by end of next week, like Sanju said.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Marianne. So let me start the presentation now. So Municipality of Clarington and the start date of the MAT in terms of bylaw. Is July 1, 2026 or Q3, quarter 3 in 2026. And the first time that you will be reporting is for Q3. So July, August, September. So you're reporting the first quarterly report for July, August, September will be in October. And the system access requirements, we will be registering all users of the short-term rental. And we start with a list from Glenn, and I'll continue to work with him and his team to add more people to the list. And and if any one of you or another individual reach out to us to get registered, and we will take that information and we will add them to the system along with communicating with the Glenn as well. All right. Now, when you do receive our invite or access to the MAT portal, please bookmark the web address. The web address is clarington.orhma.com. So on a regular basis, at least quarterly, you will be accessing that particular website. So therefore, if you bookmark it, then there is no need to access any other municipality's website. Or if you simply type in orhma.com, that might go to our regular website, our association websites, and you may get lost in it. So always clarington.orhma.com. Now, this website is quite secure, and each individual have your own access user ID, which will be your email address, and a temporary password will be assigned to you, and we will communicate that through an email. Then you can change your password. And the system will communicate with you in terms of reminders. On a quarterly basis, you will receive a request to file your MAT return for the quarter. Then we will remind you to make the payment before the end of the month for the previous quarter. And as soon as we receive the payment, we'll walk you through the methods of payment later on this presentation, and receipts will be issued to you. And everything that you report is live and real time. So what does that mean? Is that the information that you're typing in is available to ORHMA, to us as administrative individual who is administering the website. Plus, it's also available to the city, only the authorized individuals, and to you. So you will have access to your account only, and others, along with others, they will have their own access as well. If I may go back to another page, just want to. Glenn, my apology, I missed this particular link.
Yeah, no worries. I just threw the link in the chat that I mentioned in my intro
Okay.
for folks to stay up to date on how the MAT funds will be used to support tourism. So all good.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
The live data integration, I briefly touched on it. It's a fully transparent and real-time data sharing between the providers, which is you, a municipality, and ORHMA. Now, we're diving deep into the short-term rental collection and remittance in terms of municipal accommodation tax. But currently, as Glenn mentioned, Airbnb does not collect a remit levy or MAT automatically for Clarington. Each host is responsible for uploading the MAT to your accommodation listing. Now, Airbnb does have a series of help links available online to add a local tax. And in your case, it's a 5%. Then I will walk you through each steps to do it. And I'm going to share this with you, some of the screenshots that we received from other accommodation providers to make it easier for you. So the Airbnb, this link, Airbnb/help article 2523. So in this particular article itself, under heading 4, there's a clear instruction how to add a new tax. So if you can follow this, that will provide you enough help to add a new tax. Unfortunately, we do not have access to your own account because your account is confidential between you and the Airbnb. So therefore, it is something only you are able to do it. And there are times that when you get stuck or so, it happens. If that is the case, time to time, you can also reach out to Airbnb. And some of the users in the past told us that there are certain times it doesn't work. Just like any other website, if something doesn't work at that time, it doesn't mean that it's permanently broken. So you will probably half hour or the next day or so, it will work, because not everything works all the time, unfortunately. Now, booking.com, there's also a website or with information, partner.booking.com. There's enough help available for you. So in most cases, in our experience, Airbnb is the largest inventory holder for short-term rentals. So when you go into the link, this heading section 4, you will see this information. This is the instruction to add how to add a new tax. I just copied and pasted on this slide. This is directly from the Airbnb website itself. So add taxes for individual listing on your desktop. Desktop means not on a mobile, but on your regular computer. That's what desktop means. click listing, your listing, and select the listing that you want to edit. And listing editor, click the cog wheel or the setting icon. Then from there, you can edit preferences and click taxes and so forth. And it is asking for a percentage that you can add and add your registration number and such, then agree to the terms and click save. So that is the few steps that you need to do to add your taxes. Now let's go through some of the screenshots when you are there. So when you add a new tax, it will ask you, there's a series of selection of what you need to add. So as a best practice, please add tourist tax. Now the lingo or the language, it's used within Airbnb, because Airbnb is a company who operates business across the world, multiple jurisdictions, multiple countries. So places to place, from province of Ontario to province of Nova Scotia to Alberta, the same tax is called different things. So Airbnb does not necessarily have the same lingo as a municipal accommodation tax. You'll never find it. So instead, use tourist tax. So this is what we recommend in everyone across Ontario, and it does work. Now, once you select that, then there is a series of checkboxes you need to tell them which one that you need to add the 5% against. There's pet fee, cleaning fee, resort fee, license fee. And so typically the charge is for the accommodation charge. That's your base price. So select the base price and select the maximum cap per person per night. So no cap per night. And business ID, if you have a business number, please enter it there. And you may have a HST, you may not have an HST number. So and if you have an HST number, when you set up your account, I think it's part of your account profile. So we won't ask you here, but that's part of the original setup that you have with Airbnb. Now, accommodation tax registration number is typically the registration number provided to you as identified by the local municipality. So Glenn, the individuals that with the Clarington at the moment, do they have a unique number assigned by the city at the moment?
Yeah, so at the moment, Clarington does not have a short-term rental license, and as a result, hosts would not have a registration number. However, every property within Clarington, of course, does have a roll number. Yeah. So if they do need to input a number here, that's something that I can follow up on and get everyone's roll numbers based on their address and get that sent out if this is a requirement.
In the past, that other jurisdictions that they did not have a unique number issued as a registration number, the roll number was used. And so perhaps that would be the right thing. And each owner of the house should be able to find that on their property tax bill as well. Right. Isn't this the same number? Yep. So everyone do have access to it, and that is quite unique for the city. So therefore, and that's a confidential information that you will not provide that to us. That is something that you can add to identify yourself.
And if folks can't find that, that's something that I'm happy to support on.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Glenn. And the penalties. So this is a information coming right out of the bylaw itself. A monthly interest rate of 1.25% can be applied for those locations who are not paying the bill on the time. Paying the bill means paying the municipal accommodation tax on time. And if the MAT return is not submitted on a regular basis, then the city has the right to assess an amount. And I left the full occupancy is the same language I used in the hotel. But in your case, I know you're not a hotel. I know you are a short-term. So that means the city can and may assess an amount based on the full occupancy. In other words, you could say that 30 days occupancy in month of June, 31 days of occupancy in the month of July, and so forth, as an example. And any MAT outstanding amount can be added to the property tax as per the bylaw as well. And any unpaid amount can be added as a lien against the property. Those are the ways the municipalities typically handle the unpaid MAT or assessed MAT as the time goes forward. And municipalities have the right to pursue any remedies under the bylaw. MAT in terms of audit and inspections. As you know, municipalities have the full right to check in with you at a later date to look and review your reservations to make sure that you're fully reported and complied with the bylaw at a later date. So please do keep the records and those data available for 7 years. That's including the sales of accommodation, amount of MAT collected, and the amount of MAT reported and remitted. This particular system I will walk you through later on, all the amount that reported or MAT returns and all the amount received. That information will be available from the system itself. So that we will keep it on your behalf. You can log in at any time and access it. You can print it. You can print it to provide your accountant or for any CRA audit related. You can use those documents for that purpose. But please do keep the Airbnb booking reports and payout data reports. You can download them as a PDF on a quarterly basis, and please keep them for a later possible extension inspection. And the treasurer or an agent may inspect on audit all books and documents transaction of your operation. Now, I'm not quite certain about today's crowd or today's participants in terms of HST and if it applies to you. Most likely no, but this is I'm just going to provide this as a general information here. If you have an HST number, so that means that number would be provided to Airbnb. If that is the case, the Airbnb will not collect the HST on your behalf automatically. So that means it's between you and the CRA. But if you do not have an HST number, Airbnb does collect HST from all the people who are staying with you, and that HST will be sent to CRAs. But the only takeaway from here is for you to know that accommodation tax or municipal accommodation tax is subject to HST in Ontario. Now, we have a team working behind. Marianne, you already met, and Karen, part of our team working in the office, and myself, Sanju Abraham. And all this email and telephone number will be given to you. And we will send this presentation to the city, and Glenn will send this out to you. And we have a direct number, 905-592-3023. You can reach us asking any questions that you may have about the listing, the MAT taxes generally, and the methods of payment and things. Now, we have a general email, matt@orhma.com. That MAT stands for Municipal Accommodation Tax @orhma.com. So when you do contact us, please provide the following items: the name of the municipality and your full address. So that means we can easily identify you. You're with the Clarington, this is your name, here's your address, and we can easily look up your record, then call you back or contact you back with the information that you're looking for. So if you simply send us an email, that would be difficult for us to identify, as long as we can place you against a city or municipality and the address. Now, you may ask why we cannot identify you, because we already registered you with the email address. It is a good question. The reason that we build each municipality separate from each other. So we don't have the ability to search across our 40 plus municipality with the one email address. We built it totally separately. It's separate silos. So no municipalities' data will be mingled with anyone else, including we don't even have the ability to search across. So that's how we built it. Now, I would like to take any questions you may have now before I go into the website itself. If your microphone is off, you can turn it on, then you can ask the question. Or you may type it into the chat box as well. Yeah, Cindy, your microphone was off, so if you can turn that on.
I have nothing to say at this moment.
Thank you. All right. Since we don't have any questions at the moment, so let me go into the website itself. So when you log into the system, so this is a screen that pops up, and it shows the website itself, clarington.org.com. That is the website, and you'll see your email address on the top right-hand side, and there's an arrow below that which you can click edit user, so you can change your password. If you type in your new password and type in again, click update, you will actually change your password yourself at any time you like. And let me just log out at the moment just to show you the screen itself. This is a login screen, and if you forget your password, that's okay as well, because you're only accessing the system on a quarterly basis. So time to time, you may forget it. If that's the case, you can click under the login button, forgot password, and it will ask you to type in your email address. Then it will send you a link to your email inbox to reset your password. The process takes probably about a minute or so, but then you can access the system. Now, type in your email address, type in your password, click login. Now, I did log in earlier from laptop from this location, but if you are logging for the first time on a browser on the same or from a new location, it will ask you for a 6-digit code, two-factor authentication code. So that means that code will be emailed to you to your inbox. We just want to make sure that just because someone knows your email, they won't be able to access your data. We want to make sure it's you. As long as you have access to your email address, then you will be able to access to the system as well. So on a quarterly basis, let me walk you through what you do. So this screen, what you see now is blank. There's no reports in, no MAT returns in, there's no status, everything is blank. So the first time when you access it, to initiate a MAT report, click on the under your email address, submit MAT button. So once a quarter, you click on it. So then, based on your access, your name, your location name will be here. So that will be your short-term rental, your name, first name, last name. Now select a quarter. So in your case, you'll be selecting Q3 and select the year and type in the entire rooms charge. Yes, we're using the word gross rooms revenue for the same purpose for you to remember that it is the charge that you're typing in here. It's not an income tax, it's an accommodation tax. So the purpose of the tax is in the name of the tax. So if you are charging a guest $100, for example, and if they stayed there with you for 3 nights, then the $300 is where the amount goes here. Again, that's for 3 days, but you may have those type of stays for multiple nights for 3 months. So let's say that in this example, if I use an amount of $25,000, then you enter that amount. Then on the bottom of the screen, click Submit. So that creates a quarterly report or MAT return for you. So the data points are very small. Small means just one number on a quarterly basis. Now, if you click on the left margin, the circle, just once, then you will see your first report or Q3 report. So location under this one is showing test short-term rental Airbnb, but in your case will be display your name and the status submitted and the date the report was created and the amount reported. So you can actually click print button. You can print the same report, or you can click show. So you will show that report for you for future references as well. Now, on the left margin, there are a few other reports available to you. Aging report. So this will show quarterly your information. Q1, Q2 does not apply in 2026 because you're starting in July 1. So start reporting from Q3 onwards. Now, any one of you may not have anything to report on a particular quarter because you're not operating. If that is the case, you still need to log in and report 0. So let's say that Q4, which is October, November, December, if you have no rentals, you still need to report 0. So let me walk you through how to do that. So all you do is submit MAT, and you don't need to select your location. I selected mine because I have access to those 2 accounts. Then click Q4 2026. And in this case, it's a 0. So leave a 0 and click Submit. Let me just type 0 if that's the case.
I think it's the year, Sanju.
Yeah, understood. Let me start again. Thank you, Marianne. Anytime when in doubt, just click on the left margin, click Submit. Q4 2026. Click Submit. So the report has created successfully. So in this case, when you log in here and click on the left margin, it will show Q4 2026 has submitted with a 0. And Q1 2027, then you need to report that later on with the correct amount. So this is just a demonstration purposes only, of course. And you can also check to see if you have any overdue amount. In this case, it's all blanks because this month is June 10th today, and we reported for Q3 and Q4. They're not due yet. That's the only reason it's not showing. So that is the system itself. And it's fairly easy. Once you report once or second quarter, then it'll come in handy. Now, how do you make the payment? We have, in the past, we accept payment with every method except cash and credit card. You can send us a check, of course, but check payable to ORHMA, Ontario Restaurant Hotel Mart Association. But that may take a few days. So if you have a business account, if you do, then we'll provide you our EFT or electronic fund transfer information directly to you. That will show the dedicated account that we we will hold in trust for municipality of Clarington. So you can make the deposit directly to that account. And if you do not have it, a business account, just a regular checking account, then you may send us a debit interactive e-transfer. We will accept that too. And when you receive your first welcome email with the login information, we will include that, how to make the payments and the methods, all that to you. And they will be individually distributed, the payment information. So that concludes my tour of the website at this time. Again, do you have any questions? I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Yeah, I think I have a question. Maybe this could be directed to Glenn.
Yeah, go ahead, Steven.
Yeah, so say for example that guests have already booked, say in September, October, or July, and at the time of booking, that tax was not included. That was not included. So how's the scenario gonna play? Now, are you gonna go back to the booking and make the adjustments? There's a risk that might be the guest might see a little adjustment in the in the final bill, and they might probably cancel the reservation. So yeah, I'm just kind of curious how we gonna play with that.
Yeah, Glenn, I can take this question if you don't mind. I can provide a best practice across Ontario and Nova Scotia. Because, yes, of course, there is a transition period. In every municipality, there's a period that there's no MAT in place. Then starting such and such a day, there's MAT in place. So it applies to hotels as well, because the reservation comes in, people make the payment, then therefore we need to accommodate that. So having said that, Stephen, good question. So if you have a reservation already, which is made prior to July 1, 2026 and fully paid, you may not have received the payment yet, but the guest already paid the platform that their reservation. So no requirement for you to go back and change the rates. So they are exempt from the municipal accommodation tax because they're fully paid before the MAT was in place. So because all the reservations, so at the moment, your role is to add the tax right away on your listings. So therefore, all the new reservations will be charged MAT. So anything on the books now, so you can actually go and take a printout or do an export on all your listings, so you can identify that easily. That out of all the payouts I received, so many are already booked and paid. So therefore, you don't have the opportunity to charge a MAT to them. So the quick answer is they're exempt. Glenn, would you like to add anything to it?
Yeah, I think just a question for you, Sanju, from your experience with this. When hosts go on to the Airbnb platform to add the tax, can they choose a date for it to take effect, or do they need to wait until July 1st to do so? And then I guess as a follow-up to that, do you know if Airbnb as a platform knows enough that if they are to add the tax, that any bookings that were made for after July 1st at an agreed upon price should exclude that MAT tax because the price has been agreed?
Right. Yeah, that would be a nuanced question to Airbnb directly. But there is a start date. Every booking platform does have a start date that you can apply. I know recently, time to time, every platform will make some changes, but speaking with the other host from my past experience, that's how the booking.com, for example, hotels do this all the time. They can load the rate. And time to time, each municipalities may change the MAT rate as well. 5% this year, 6% next year, 7% the following year. I'm not saying about Clarington, but Toronto, for example, they have a graduated, they increase the rate time to time. Auburn Sound have 3 different rates in 3 years. Niagara Falls next year will be an additional 1%. So it happens everywhere. So those things can be applied, and for those there is a date, start date, and the end date, if that is the case. Yeah. So platforms should be able to do that. Unfortunately, I do not have a personal experience of adding a rate to an Airbnb account. I do not have a personal account, so I do not know that, unfortunately, to help you with it. But
what I'll commit to do for all the hosts on the line is I'll reach out to Airbnb and ask them that nuanced question about reservations made for after July 1st at an agreed upon price. And is there a way to exclude the MAT? Because the bylaw does state that anything that was reserved beforehand, that price was agreed upon. That's why they booked it. So we will not be applying anything that has proof that it was booked beforehand. So I'll reach out to our contact at Airbnb and get some info on that and circulate that around to everyone on the call.
Yeah. The way I understood that is that when you add a new tax to starting July 1, 2026, I mean, today is only June 10th. So all the bookings done and paid will not have any impact on it. This is all the new reservations starting. Any new reservations coming through, any new bookings coming through from now, anyone coming after July 1, 2026. So that's how I understand it.
That being said, too, and perhaps some of the hosts can correct me, but I believe there's options for guests to choose to pay upfront when they book at a 50-50 rate or at the time that the reservation starts. So we may run into this if they choose or if they chose to pay at the date of the booking. So in those cases, they will have booked at an agreed upon price, but won't be paying until after July 1st. So those are the cases where I'll do my best to get everyone an answer on how to exclude the MAT from those.
Hi, Glenn.
Yep, go ahead.
Airbnb and Verbal, they collect, once the guests make a reservation, they collect payment instantly. However, they don't submit that payment to us as hosts until when the guest actually checked in.
Correct.
Now, Booking.com allow the guest to pay. The option for Booking.com, they can pay when they make the reservation, or they can pay when they arrive at the property. Because like now I have a guest that just checked in and he didn't put his credit card on file. So now he got there and he just made a payment just now. So Airbnb and Verb, as I said, they collect payment instantly. Booking.com allow the guests to pay when they choose to. So like for those guests, even though they book before July 1st and they didn't pay, let's say July 1st come and they now pay that day, I think we do have the right to charge them that 5% or 6%, whatever Clarington is charging, because they didn't actually pay. They agreed to the price, but they did not pay. So those people who did not, quote unquote, leave their credit card and file, I think we should be able to charge them that 5%. We just have to let them know prior to them coming to pay or coming to check in that they will be 5% on top of whatever the price they saw on the platform.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. And thanks for enlightening me on the payment structure. So that makes sense. So just to clarify, on Airbnb, you get it at the time of booking on every guest, correct?
Yes, they collect it upfront, yes.
Yeah, but the guest
to us. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, correct me. If the Airbnb, the guest pays at the time of the booking, but the payment is held by Airbnb until the guest stays. Or
yes, until the guest checked in, then they submit that payment to us the following day.
Yeah, that's correct.
Excellent. Any other questions from the group today?
So we would still collect the tax on those customers? I'm fully booked until January.
If It's Airbnb booking, Cindy? Can you
Yes,
verify?
Airbnb bookings. I'm fully booked till January.
Right.
So would I have to collect from them? From the
And answer is no. The reason is all the bookings that you have right now with the Airbnb, the guests fully paid those amount to
Yes.
Airbnb.
Yes.
You have not received the payment yet, and you
Oh.
will, as the guest checks in, and the following day you will receive the payment. But you have no opportunity to go back and ask for MAT for those because it's agreed and it's paid by the guest.
So we're supposed to ask the guests to pay for Matt?
Right. Cindy, let me give you another example. If you are staying in a local hotel in Clarington, if you
Yes.
check in, if the hotel charge you $100 as a room rate, then the hotel needs to charge you $5 or 5% of the $100 as a municipal accommodation tax. So now, based on the same bylaw, just the hotel would do in Clarington, you also need to do it. So this tax is not on you, it's on the guests who are staying with you. So that's what you're setting it up with the Airbnb.
So the guests will pay Airbnb the tax?
Yes, then they will pass it on to you as part of your payout.
Okay.
And you can actually print out a summary of your payout monthly or quarterly.
Yeah.
The end date. Then you can print it. Typically, it's a PDF format, so that you can use that to identify the first 6 months or so. You may have some reservations or some bookings without MAT, some reservations with MAT. So you need to separate them. Then you report the one with the MAT on the portal and make the payment. And this is a bit of a growing pain for the first so many months.
Yeah.
As your existing reservation will pass through the system without MAT, then you upload your rate on the system. So therefore, all the new reservations made will have a MAT. So please work with the system and report.
Okay.
So just a
sorry.
Oh no, sorry. If I was interrupting anyone, I can wait. It was
Nope.
Mine was just more of a comment or just a clarification, Sandra. So since MAT is coming into effect on July the 1st, we should make sure that exactly on July the 1st, we update MAT, right? So we are not doing it now. Because for now,
I recommend to update it early as possible, today or tomorrow. And if you can put a start date July 1, then you can enter that now. Because you may receive a booking tomorrow for a month of August. So if that is the case, you already charge the MAT accordingly. So my recommendation is to please try to add the tax at the earliest opportunity.
Okay, but if I'm charging the MAT now, if the booking is still prior to July the 1st, then it is not in compliance with MAT then.
No, as long as you can enter a start date of July 1, 2026.
Okay. Perfect. That works. Understood. Thanks so much.
You're welcome, Stephen.
Sanju, a couple of clarifying questions here for the group as well as for the recording. When it comes to exemptions, similar to what you said around bookings that have already been made and paid for after July 1st, will all of the exemptions be done offline and therefore only the rooms that collected MAT will be uploaded into the system? Because I noticed on the portal there was no line for exemptions, so that will be done in an Excel sheet or on people's own software.
Individually reported. Yeah, that was the part of the reason is the exemption will pass through very quickly. The hotels have the series of property management system to track all of those data separately, so therefore we collect that data. But for short-term rentals, the best practice is to collect just the right amount of data which they have. So any reservations that the currently that you have and without any MAT tax is not reported. So you report the amount that was part of the MAT.
Makes sense. And then my other question for the group here too is thinking back to when you were going through the portal, the main number that folks need to input is gross room charge. So can you just clarify what charges this includes? And if they have, or if they do collect HST because they make over a certain amount, is that included too in that number? Can you just kind of walk through what goes into that?
Yeah, thank you, Glenn, for that question. The HST item is not part of the MAT return here. HST is between you and your CRA account. So we have asked CRA for their opinion a long time ago when we started working with municipal recognition tax. It is subject to HST, but the HST collected on MAT, if it is a scenario in your case, then the HST should be reported directly to CRA under your own HST number. So the amount that you're reporting, the accommodation charge or revenue, is without, it's net of any taxes. It is the pure accommodation charge. So if you have HST and if you're collecting HST, then it is to be reported and remitted to CRA directly under your own HST number. At no time we asked you for HST number, because if we collect HST on your behalf, then we have to report to CRA, and we can't even do that. So it's not part of this. So the MAT that you pay is the 5% of the accommodation charge.
Sanju,
Yes.
question for you. So some of us as hosts, there are two separate charges because we charge a room rate and we also charge a cleaning fee.
Yeah.
Now, is that cleaning fee subject to that 5% or the room rate only subject to that 5%?
It's actually the base price accommodation charge.
Okay,
Yes.
so the cleaning fee separate.
Cleaning fee is separate.
Okay,
Any
got it. Okay.
incidents are separate, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just a question for you. As my wife said, we're booked right up until January. Do we still submit a zero collection
Yes.
starting July, after the July 1st type of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Quite welcome.
And to be clear to folks here, so hotels and motels will be remitting monthly, whereas short-term rentals, we're only asking for quarterly. So you'll always have 15 days after that quarter that you're reporting for. So for example, the first quarter that you're reporting for will be July, August, and September. So you'll have until October 15th to pay. So if you're sending by check, a few days earlier would be best to send it. But if you're going by e-transfer or EFT, yes, October 15th. And the same thing would apply for Q4. So that would be for October, November, December. January 15th would be that date. And Sanju, just going back to the HST question once more, I was hoping that you could clarify, because there was the slide that you had on HST, and I understand that the MAT is collected on top of the HST. So for example, if the base charge is 100, the HST, it would obviously be 113. The 5% is charged on the 113, not the 100. Is that correct?
No, it's not. No, it's the other way around. Let me just go back to the slide itself so we can walk it through. Let me share the screen. So here's the MAT and HST calculation, the relationship. So when you look at the room rate, let's say it's $100 as an example. the mat is 5% of the room rate accommodation charge. So that's a $5 or 5% of the $100. Now the subtotal of mat and the room rate is 105, and the HST is charged at 13% on the $105. So
I
HST,
see.
the mat is subject to HST if you have an HST number, by the way. So depending on how you establish your business, and please work with your accountant and the individual who helps you file your taxes. Now, the second column here, this is typically a hotel, by the way. It may not apply to you. So many of the hotels, time to time, have a package rate. They include one rate, all taxes included. So if a hotel, typically, I don't think it will apply to you, but just for the demonstration purposes, if you ask an individual to pay $100, all tax included, then your accommodation charge is only $84.29, because $84.29, 5% will be $421, subtotal $88.50, then the tax HST on it will be by $11.50. There's a penny difference in that calculation, by the way, but I just rounded it up to $100. So that's the HST situation.
Makes sense. Thank you for clarifying. It's a learning experience for me too, that's for sure. So that makes sense. So when it comes to reporting, end of the day, short-term rental hosts do not need to worry about HST when reporting the gross room revenue. Simply the calculation of their room rate times the number of nights that they had booked during that quarter.
Correct.
Thank you.
So most cases, HST example would not apply to you because of the way that you run your typical Airbnb. But we have worked with the companies who sometimes have a numbered company who have rent properties and they already have a HST number. Then you do need to apply HST on top of the mat. And some platforms like Booking.com, there's a, or Expedia's of the world, sometimes does not have that ability to charge tax on tax. So in that case, sometimes the accommodation provider just include that as part of the room rate. So then they work backwards to balance all of it. So every platform have its own slight quirks because not everyone can do everything because it's not really necessarily written for Canada or Ontario or Clarington specifically, unfortunately. So we have to work with the type of distribution channels that you distributing your inventory. That's part of doing business, unfortunately, but yeah, everyone will be slightly different challenge. So, but we are giving general information here, but your example may be slightly different, but the principle and the information will be accurate.
Okay, what would happen about, say in another year, we decided we didn't want to have our Airbnb anymore? How would we stop it? Stop the MAC or payments or whatever?
Yeah, it's a good question. A couple of ways. You will be informing the city, of course, that you are no longer operating. So you can also inform us through email. So what we will do is you will still have access to our system for those months or quarters that you reported, but we will archive. We will change your status of your account with us to an archive mode. That means you can still access it for tax purposes, but we will not remind you to report or make the payment. But the city will have the same information available to them as well for compliance purposes.
Okay. Good.
So I think as Sanju said, at the end of the day, a lot of the info today has been general. Things will come up platform by platform, and that's just part of, as he said, sort of that growing pain. Once we're a few quarters in, it should be very straightforward. But you've got a team of folks here here to support as we go through this. I know that Sanju and team have seen it all, so they have answers to all of this. So if there's ever anything that comes up through the implementation, please do not hesitate to contact Orma, myself, if it's something to do with the actual bylaw or something related to Clarington. But either way, we're all connected and can get you to the right person who has the answer for you.
Excellent. Thank you, Glenn. We're looking forward to working with all of you, and please reach out to us with any questions. We will help you with it. And excellent. Have a good night. And
is there any room for one last question?
yeah, go ahead, Stephen.
Yes. During your presentation, you said that sometimes in reporting, there could be, in remitting the tax, Clarington can come back and do an inspection or an assessment just to make sure that you're remitting correctly. So I just being kind of proactive, can we report and provide our calendars, or is it really up to us? Or if there was going to be an instant in the future in which Clarington wants to do an assessment or inspection, if you're reporting correctly, will there be any criteria to do that, or it's just something that could be random?
What I recommend to you is to keep all your payout reports and the booking reports somewhere, and that information is, you could be audited by CRA as well, for the income and the expenses and those type of claims that you're doing. So this is nothing above and beyond. It's the same information the CRA may ask you. So you do need to keep that. So we ask you to do the same thing. So at the moment, the bylaw for Clarington does not request that you submit those reports on a quarterly basis. Our system can accept the payout reports from Airbnb as a PDF. Some municipalities do request that, but I did not see that as part of the bylaw for Clarington. So if there is a change in the future, if there's an amendment that may happen or so, if that is the case, yes, Stephen, yeah, at that time, you will be asked to report your booking or payout reports typically, which will show the breakdown of all the bookings, start date, end date, tabs collected, paid to you, so they can balance those things.
So if you wanted to inspect our books or something like this, you give us a notification, ask us to come down to the town or something, or what's going on?
Yeah, in an event later on, in a year or a couple of months or a couple of years, the bylaw states that the treasurer or the financial individual who is responsible for finance has the right to audit you or check your records. It doesn't mean that every single person will get audited. It could be many municipalities that we work with take a sample of, if you have 100 short-term rentals, they may take 10% or 10 of them and test it and so forth. So it's too early for us to provide any particular direct answer to that question. It will take a few years. Glenn, do you have anything to add to that?
Not really. I think at the end of the day, if that ever were to happen, it would likely be initiated through a letter from the treasurer, sent by mail and likely email, and that would outline the steps. But as Sanju said, that's something down the road that may or may not happen.
Are you talking about auditing for that tax that we pay out?
Yeah, it would basically be to ensure that the reports that come from Airbnb in turn that lay out occupancy and room rates and all those things align with the remittances.
In other words, we want to make sure that the amount that you report is actually the actual amount.
But that comes from Airbnb. So the amount that Airbnb says the client paid, that is the amount that we submit.
Yep, that's good. If you do that, then you're good to go.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Well,
my
all the-
apologies for stretching this meeting again. I know it was supposed to end a while ago. Sorry about that. No, I'm done.
Excellent. Thank you,
No
Stephen.
worries at all.
And feel free to reach out to us at another time if you have a different question. Thank you very much, and looking forward to working with all of you. Any parting words, Glenn?
Just, yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for your time tonight. I know it sounds like a lot. I can fully understand, but I think everyone will see that as this gets rolling, it is quite a simple process. And yeah, we appreciate everyone's time.
Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Good night. Bye.
Night.